Well, g'day guys. Welcome to Around the Grounds. I wanted to do something a little bit different, chat with a few of Australia's best agents right across the board. Dib, first up. How are you, buddy? Whenever you get your sound on, mate. Everyone's here. James here.
What's happening?
How are we, boys?
What's happening?
I'm alive.
We're on the live. Wally doesn't know what he's doing out there. He's up at the coast. I don't know if he can hear us.
I've got cows in the background. They're fine.
Good stuff, boys. Well, thanks for joining us. Just thought I'd get on here. I know I said that I'd bring you in one-on-one, but I'm still learning how to use this bloody thing myself. So I think we're all going to see how we go with this. I think, Dib, we're going to head over to you first. Do you want to tell us a bit about you, the area that you work in, and I guess what you're doing at the moment just to get both buyers, sellers buy, and also your team buy as well? You there, buddy? I'm going to skip him. Chris, you're prepared, mate. Go for you first.
Good morning. How are we? Can you hear me? Yep.
Yes.
Awesome, mate. Yes, I'm from the Central Coast. So I work the Gosford all the way essentially to Avoca Beach where I live. Sub-regions inside there, East Gosford, Point Frederick, with other markets. And at the moment, like my biggest thing or point of difference the last 12 months has been getting buyers in the car from Sydney, meeting them here at our West Gosford hub and driving them around, showing them different areas and then emotionally falling in love with houses that I can show them and selling that way. This process is still the same for us. Today I've got 6 appointments with buyers that have all sold in Sydney for over $1 million, looking at houses anywhere from 5 to 800,000 and looking at this is an opportunity for them to do the sea change and enjoy their life and lifestyle. So
yeah, and how are you finding transactions at the moment? I'd imagine things are taking a little bit longer.
Yeah, buyers are a little bit nervous. We're investors. We're trying to wrap up the rentals. Like if they're an investor coming from Sydney, a little bit extended cool-off periods. I've got one at the moment that's got like a 7-day cool-off, 7 to 10 days. We're going to find a tenant for that property.
Yeah.
If it doesn't find a tenant, then they won't transact. So like we're trying to get a little bit more creative to keep the deal together.
Yeah.
But they're majority out-of-towners, not locals investing into the market.
Yeah. And what about the sellers side of things? Is there many people coming to market?
Yeah, so I've got, I think, 10 at the moment live, 5 signed up that are all going to go live. We always do the off-market process, but these guys are ready to sell to move further north. So It's a bit of a cycle happening. They're going to sell up their family home and go further. So anywhere from 950, I've got a house on the market for 1.8, same thing. Yeah. They're just looking to take advantage of this market while buyers are still hot. But we're finding anyway that they're still transacting.
Yeah, of course. And what advice are you giving to sellers at the moment, whether if they're thinking of coming to market? Is your advice just to hold off for a bit, or?
Depending on the price range, like we do, because our McGrath office has 6 combined offices. So Matt and Jamie run the team.
Yeah.
We've got access to everyone's database across the 6 offices. So in a virtual LP or even a face-to-face, we type in the address, we can start calling buyers from the living room. If we've got buyers that are ready to transact, then they will sell pre. If not, like we're finding all the hot buyers are coming off RN domain that are active right now. So we're getting them live.
Yep, good stuff, man. Well, look, we love what you're doing. I see you a lot on social and what you're doing in there. So thanks so much for everything you're doing for the industry, and thanks for the overview of where you're at.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
And head over to you, James. I like the photo in the background, mate. It looks good.
Couldn't figure out the virtual background.
Yeah, well, there was interesting ones there, but I think I like what you've gone with. I've just gone for the blinds in the background, as you can see, so it's nice and cruisy here. So why don't you tell us a bit about yourself, the area that you work in, and what you're seeing out there at the moment?
Yeah, sure. My area is not far from where obviously Josh works, so sort of northwest Sydney, west sort of Beecroft, Cheltenham, West Pennant Hills, and surrounding suburbs, Carlingford or whatever. Yep. So obviously I had a big March lined up with 5 auctions, and I should have had about 7 transactions. Everything passed in. Didn't really have my finger on the pulse leading up to those auctions, as I just like put on a full timer and I was getting those calls done and that sort of thing. So I'm just playing catch ups now and managed to get sort of 4 or 5 of them across the line in the last 28 days, but they've all been A, on cooling off periods, B, under what I thought they'd sell for.
Yeah.
Those vendors were the most motivated out of the bunch that I have, and now I'm left working on the rest. But, it's certainly changed in the last 2 weeks. I think no open houses now. Your inquiries are now your open house attendees, and your private inspections are your contract holders. So the numbers sort of stack up how we used to sort of analyse that data.
Yeah, and how much have you found prices have dropped, if any at all?
5 to 10%. This one in Carlingford was under contract at 1.9. The buyers pulled out. It's now 1,775.
Yeah.
So it's like 6-7%. Yeah, and yeah, about 10% on some of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. At least.
Yeah, and are you doing, obviously social media showing a lot of the stuff that a lot of agents are doing. Are you guys doing anything different that you think is helping you get deals over the line, or when talking to sellers, anything else that you're pitching there?
Look, working a lot harder to get the private inspections booked in, but I think like Chris said, it's old school now. I've got 3 or 4 properties in a similar price bracket, all within 5 minutes of each other. Yeah. I'm taking a buy through one, and I'm taking him through all of them. And that seems to be working for us at the moment. But you obviously can't get them in the car and shop them around, because that's against the regulations at the moment, or social distancing. But yeah.
Good stuff, man. Well, look, appreciate you jumping on, giving us an overview. I'm going to head over to Eddie, just to stay in the Stone network. Eddie, how you going?
Good, Josh. How you going, man?
Fantastic, mate. Thank you for joining us today. Why don't you tell us a little bit about where you're at, who you are, and what you guys are doing?
Yep. So I'm based in Manly on the Northern Beaches at Stone Real Estate. What do we say? It's fucking really tough, actually, to be frank. And we lost a bit of motivation about how to list. I'm curious to see what everyone's saying to people that are on the fence of whether to list now or wait. Look at the market's probably come back at least 10%, I reckon, if you actually want to sell it. I think it's 10 to 15% really in our numbers. And I suppose private inspection wise, we're highly qualifying people. If someone wants to see something, we've got a list now of about 4 questions. I'll text them and make them answer before we'll actually meet them. The last one I really like, which I reckon everyone can use. The first 3 are all about health, but the last one we actually say to a buyer is, if you like the property, are you in a position to sign a contract within the price we've quoted and exchange contracts within 7 days? Question mark. So I think it's pretty cool if everyone adds that into any questions they're asking people before they inspect. You can kind of pretend it's part of the health thing, but it also qualifies the hell out of them before they even see it. And it's funny how many people say, oh, no, not really. We're still getting our pre-approval, but we wouldn't mind seeing it. And now I'm being a bit ruthless, just saying, well, no, just call me once you get your pre-approval and we'll get you through it, which is probably only a good thing with vendors too, because if they have no inspections for 2 weeks, it's a lot easier, I think, to educate them versus filtering them through here and there. And they think, oh, well, there's still people coming. And it's like, well, fuck, they're not real buyers anyway. It's a waste of time.
Yeah. And how much have you found prices have dropped out your way?
I reckon if you actually do want to sell it, you need to be 10 to 15% under, probably 15, I reckon.
Yeah. And are you still, like, how are you selling auctions for sales off market? What are you doing at the moment?
We're doing auction on everything to put a 4-week auction deadline on it. It's not working that well. I haven't ran anything to auction yet in the way of online auctions, but even when it's normal, I don't run a lot of auctions anyway. We still do the auction process and then try and sell them all prior, and usually do that quite well. But at the moment, we'll do a 4-week auction. I've got 2 auctions tomorrow. We're going to cancel both of those, just put it for sale and just continue on. I don't see a lot of merit in running it at the moment. It focuses on selling them before, really, at the moment. And just, we're saying to all clients, like, not just your property, but everything around you, will literally drop, sell. And it's like this drop, sell. And I was saying to clients, you've got to drop 3 to 4 times, like all your competition on the market, and then I'll sell. So it's just a matter of numbers. It's just how quick you can pick up and react. A lot of clients take 3 months to actually educate themselves and change, or you can do it in 3 weeks, be ahead of the game and sell it. It's not going to be worth more in a month than what it is now.
Yeah, love that. And you're a sort of partner director in the business that you're at there. What are you doing with your team, your staff, and the people around you just to keep them in check?
Not much, which isn't a good thing. The committed ones are here and are doing their best. We're all sales agents and I think self-committed. I don't know, as a partner and that, an owner, I'm probably not doing a great job of it. But look, we're just focusing. There's about 3 or 4 good agents here that are hustling and coming to work and doing their best. We're still working in the office. Some of them are sitting at home and doing nothing or trying, but it's really up to them. I don't know. Like the way I was brought up, no one ever held my hand and helped me. It's a bad attitude probably, but man, it's up to us. If it's going to be, it's up to me, right?
Yeah,
And
look, I think
top agent Timmy's doing more than anyone right now in our office. And he's the only one here every day and on the phone all day. No one else is on the phone all day. And funnily enough, he's got more business than anyone else and selling more, which hasn't changed ever, as we all know.
Yeah. Look, I think ultimately this is uncharted territory for a lot of people, for everyone really, and mainly for obviously agents. We've never seen this sort of thing before. Some of the most diabolical sort of scenarios that we've seen. So I think it's not easy for everyone. So we appreciate you giving us an overview on your market. You're doing amazing things. You have an amazing business. So it's a matter of sort of staying strong and getting through it.
Thanks, bro. Completely agree.
Pleasure. Wally, I'm going to head over to you, mate. This is your, I think, first time
Wonderful.
doing this whole Zoom thing. How are the cows going?
Yeah, well, they're okay. They're just hanging out. They're the Bowley Farm cows behind me there. We're a dairy place down here. So I'm from Ray White South Coast. So we operate from Berry all the way down to Surfside, so Milton Ulladulla. So that's about 2 to 2.5 hours there of actual space that we can operate in. That's about 20 odd suburbs. Yeah. Now, when it comes to our business, it's kind of business that's unusual for us. We just had to change and adapt and just work with what the conditions are. So we've been working satellite for about 3 weeks now. We've all been at home, but it's just the normal process. We're just making the right changes that we need to do to keep getting us forward to where we are. In regards to sales for our location, like for this time in the year of 2019, from January to April, we sold about 77 in the main core suburb of Nowra. This year it was 74. So we're not really seeing that much of a complete change. Mind you, there was a bit more disruption last year, but you know, we just keep on doing what we've got to do. In regards to our methods of sale, our business, which is going against the grain of everyone else in the location, we do primarily auction, and we work with Ben Mitchell, and we've now signed up to Auction Now just to provide a better platform for our clients moving ahead. We just think it's going to be best for us to just start now and just continue going down the pace.
Yeah, so tell me, you're at a different part of your career in the sense where you're just early on in the days, a few years in, still learning the ropes and everything. So this whole market is totally different to anything. Obviously, you're just experiencing this for the first time. What are you doing to get yourself through, and also what advice are you giving to both sellers and buyers?
Well, starting my career in this from the start of 2019, I haven't really ever seen it in a good time, or good in quotation marks. I think the main important thing to do is just have some people in the industry that you can talk to. So I'll talk to yourself or other agents in Sydney, because whilst we're dealing with different numbers, we're having the same problems. And I think the simple act of calling a couple of your mates, I'm lucky that most of my mates are all tradies, and just kind of getting where their headspace is at. Because then that just kind of stages you up for your next conversations. If you have a good chat in the morning, you'll have a good chat afterwards. So you just got to make sure that you remain consistent and positive.
Yeah, no, I love that. And good talk around beer and stuff. So what did you do before you jumped into real estate?
I ran a pub for 5 years, and that pub's only about 100 metres down the road, and it's very hard. It's very, very hard not to go for a waddle and get some takeaways. So, you know, the fridge is only there too. Very hard.
Good on you, man. Well, look, I appreciate you giving us an insight. Thanks so much for joining us, and keep doing what you're doing, man. You're doing amazing stuff.
Pleasure.
I'm going to head over to Mr. Chan, William Chan, to give us a bit of an overview on where you're at. And Will, you've kicked off your own business early on. I think it was this year or maybe last year. Correct me if I'm wrong. Tell me a bit about that.
Yeah, so we started the business around September last year. We've done quite well. We've got our signboards up everywhere, and but things have slowed down a little bit now. But the last quarter, like the first quarter this year, is really good. So
Yeah, and tell us what's happening in your marketplace at the moment. How much have prices adjusted, and what are you seeing out there?
I think at the moment, like there's not as many listings coming online. A lot of buyers are taking a step back in terms of wanting to make a purchase. Last night I had 2 deals pull out because, not one deal pull out, one deal on the rocks because their income has dropped, or they've lost their jobs, or the banks are really looking into the situations of the purchaser. and they're deciding, what do I say? They're working out whether or not they can get the loan. So we're getting affected by finance.
Yeah.
So
okay.
and that's hurting a lot of our deals.
Yeah. And what advice are you giving to your sellers that are currently on the market at the moment?
I'm just sending them articles from 9 News, 7 News, articles from Domain that say that the market may fall off, and then just telling them that, look, it's better to sell now, and I think we should adjust price before it drops below what we could have actually gotten.
Yeah, of course. And being a business owner yourself, what are you doing with your troops and your staff and also yourself just to keep everyone in check?
Well, just staying tight, having morning meetings, having meetings at the end of the day, just reviewing the hot buys, just telling them to just find the buys for the properties. And if you're done with that property, just put it aside and try and find another listing, because I think there's only so much you can do with one listing. And then after that, it's no point just trying to ring the same buyers again. So you just try and get another listing, and then that listing will attract new buyers in the first 1 to 2 weeks, and then you can cross sell with those buyers to other properties.
Yeah, love that, mate. Well, look, it's been really cool to see what you're doing as well. Your brand's looking awesome online. You continue to adapt and continue to evolve. So thanks so much for sharing an insight.
Cool, thanks.
Gib, I'm going to head over to you, mate. You're a bit of a late comer, but good to see that you made it, my friend.
Mate, I don't know how to use technology. How did I get this?
Yeah, you could ask someone else to do it for you. All good, man. How's everything going on your end? So you kicked off your own business last year, I think it was. You've done some pretty exceptional stuff. I think we can all agree, from the people that know who you are, you've done some really cool things. How are you finding things at the moment?
Yeah, pretty good. I mean, obviously working harder. So that's the main thing, is to encourage our team and our staff to work harder and smarter. Essentially, we're going to do less deals than we were projected to do this year. Like, we started the first quarter 55% up versus the first quarter of last year. And then obviously all this started to happen. So we changed the way we've done things. We're simply just focusing on buyer work, more so 70% buyer work and 30% prospecting, because obviously there's still people out there that want to sell. But we've got a lot of stock. So we currently have online 26 listings, and we probably have 10 on the background that may come to market, another 5 more on hold.
Yeah.
So we're just trying to clear our stock. So we're lucky in that regards, where sometimes people had a lot of owners that said, hey, I don't want to sell anymore because what's happened. We're actually already on the market, or had our owners progress to market, so we're just focused on selling. I think this week we've done 3 unconditional deals. We'll probably do another unconditional today, and possibly one for cooling off period today as well. So, for April, pretty good week.
Yeah. And are you, so you're getting buyers into a position where you're getting them unconditional versus doing cooling off periods? And
yeah,
how are you doing that? Because we're finding that a lot of the buyers that we're working with, and I'm sure some of the other guys will agree, they're all wanting cooling off to ensure that they can get finance approved.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to push for that unconditional. So if they need to work on their finance, we're allowing them a couple of days. We're putting, we're pulling the feelers out there as well, saying, someone may come in the meantime. So we create an urgency. We prefer the unconditional exchange versus the cooling off. But if you have to take cooling off, we're taking it. But I think I heard what Ed said on Facebook, because I couldn't get into this meeting, this is an exclusive meeting. I heard that he said, are you in a position to, make an offer and sign a contract? What we're asking is very simple. Are you ready to buy the property right away? If not, okay, I can do it in a cool off period, no problem. We're still taking them through, at least they're qualifying. So if someone says to me, yes, I know when they make an offer, they can do unconditional. Sometimes they'll try to say cooling off, and we'll say, well, hang on a second. You did mention you can do unconditional. There's somebody else there in the background. Yeah. What do you want to do? And yesterday we had a situation where we had a 610 for a 1-bedroom apartment, 66W, and we had a 620, which was subject to a valuer and an inspection, building inspection. So I just simply said to the owner, this environment, $10,000 is $10,000, but do you want to take the boot in hand, sold right now if you take it? Or do you want to wait for that extra 10 grand just in case the buyer doesn't get their finance, or they wait 5 days and they lose the other buyer? What are you going to do? Yeah. Took the 610. We couldn't get the buyer higher than 610, and we took 610.
Yeah, I think we're finding that a lot as well. Owners are freaking out probably a little bit, saying that, well, let's just see what we can get, and if it's not exactly what they want, they're just taking it and running with it, right?
Well, I mean, there are owners out there wanting to do a deal. You simply have to have the buyer. Like, the property was sold today, and the owner wanted a bit more, and we just said to them, well, look, this is the market, what do you want to do? And they think about it, give them an hour or two, they call you back and say, hey, we'll do a deal. So as long as you're working the buyers and get in a position to sign a contract, ask the question to your owners. I mean, you might think, oh, no, they want $1 million, I'll sell for $950.
Yeah, no offer, no decisions. Good coach, you told me that.
Yeah, I mean, you have to put it out there.
Definitely, man. All good. All right, well, look, I appreciate you joining us. Thanks so much for giving us an insight.
No worries.
I'm going to head over to our lonely friend in Victoria, Mr. Nigel Harry. Nigel, how are you today?
Hey, Josh, I'm well. Thanks for having me.
No worries, mate. Thanks for joining us. So, obviously, all of us here are from New South Wales. Why don't you give us a bit of an insight as to what's happening in your marketplace?
Sure. Well, here in the north, we're probably about 6 k's from the CBD. It's I suppose you'd liken it to Surrey Hills, Redfern type of demographic. You know, it's gentrified a lot over the last 10 years. Yeah. And it's a very, very popular area at the moment. So we're fortunate in it. We've managed to hold our own through, most recently bushfires, Royal Commission last year. And, we've still got through okay. The demographic around here are generally a lot of white-collar professionals who are still doing well and kicking goals and just getting on with life, throughout all that.
Yeah, and you guys had a bit of a scare late last week when they stopped you from doing any inspections of properties that someone was living in there. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so Thursday night, about 10 o'clock, CAB just put on the website that private inspections are cancelled. That sent shockwaves through our WhatsApp group, and I'm not normally awake at that hour of night, but that did keep me up for a little bit. But I did go to bed thinking, well, there's not much we can do about it anyway. And we're all of the opinion that common sense would prevail and it would be revoked in the coming week. We didn't realise, obviously the Institute lobbied really hard and a few CEOs and over the next couple of days, and actually it was revoked on, I think, Easter Monday. So it's good. So yeah, it's a little scary.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. And prices adjusting in your marketplace, what have you seen, if any, at all?
We haven't seen a decline yet because there's still a massive imbalance between buyers that are still from left around and the options available for them. We're not ignorant to the fact that may change in the coming months once we see the flow-on effect of COVID. But at the moment, supply is just not up with the demand. So, if for those vendors that are prepared to stick their neck out and go online now, they're generally doing well.
Yeah, no, good stuff, mate. Okay, well, look, I appreciate you giving us the insight and keep doing what you're doing. I see you're doing some amazing stuff as well.
Hey, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
I'm going to head over to Vince. Vince, can you hear us?
Hey, Josh, how you going?
Good, buddy. Thank you for joining us. Why don't you give us...
It's all right. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure. Give us a little bit of insight about, I guess, your role. You're within Alexander Phillips' team.
Yep. One of his 4 assistants. He's got 3 of us that work as pretty much buyer's agents, focusing a lot on, buyer work and out there, cross-selling across a lot of the stock that we have. The good thing about our team is we focus on the whole Eastern Beaches. We don't necessarily pinpoint ourselves to one particular postcode or area, which helps us when it comes to cross-selling and at all different price points too. We've seen a decline in prices, I'd say 10 to 15%. However, things are still trading quite quickly. Alex and I sold a 2-bedroom apartment in Bondi yesterday for $1,650. It was on the market for 5 days. Unconditional as well, and just driving that. Although we do notice after sort of 2 weeks, inquiry levels drop off dramatically and getting buyers through the door can be very difficult.
Yeah, you're working in a really dynamic team and obviously a very fast-paced business in terms of the amount of transactions that both yourself and Alex and the team does. What sort of shifted with, I guess, his mentality and what he's doing with you guys, and I guess the way that he's, I guess, acting around his energy and everything that's happening there? Have you seen much of a shift?
Yeah, so about 2 weeks ago, it was sort of, this corona was quite new and no one really was of the understanding as to what was happening. And we were all sort of thrown off a bit. And so we've all taken the time to work a little bit less hours, keep ourselves refreshed. We're, focusing on exercising every day, staying mentally strong as well. But I guess, so, Alex sort of come back this week and it's like it's back to full time. We're, back in the gym at 5 a.m. or not the gym, but with a trainer at 5 a.m. and making the calls, just getting out there and creating our own sense of urgency. I think it's very easy for everyone at the moment to fall into a trap of, poor me, this is boring and depressing and everything's taking so long. But we're really focusing on creating our urgency. It's something that we do in a normal market. Just bring that urgency to the table and see if you can get it done. And it showed yesterday with that Edward Street property.
Yeah, and people that are thinking of coming onto the market, what's both yourself and Alex's advice to them at the moment? I think we lost you, mate. We'll get you back on. Oh, sorry, you there? Lost you.
You there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Could be like a 5 to 7 year recovery, much like the GFC.
Keep losing you, man.
Are you there? Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's just been pushing it. If you're going to hold for 5 to 7 years, see prices get back to where they are, that's fine. But if you're thinking of it, it's only going to go down another sort of up to 20%. So now's the time to go. We've still got old buyers in the market that missed out end of last year, beginning of this year. So there's a lot of urgency there. They're cashed up, ready to go. And we're utilising that to, bring vendors down on price and then create a deal.
Yeah, good stuff, man. Well, I appreciate the overview of what you guys are doing. Again, it's a really dynamic team that you guys have got running there. It's I guess a lot of us look up to both yourself and Alex's team and everything that you're doing. So keep leading the way.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, man. Let's head over to Shiv. Shiv, thank you for patiently waiting, mate. How you going?
That's all right, man. Good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, fantastic. So Glenwood's your marketplace. Tell us a little bit about what's happening there and how you're getting through things.
Yeah, mate. So over the last couple of weeks, I've seen a drop anywhere between 5 to 10%. Properties are still selling. Transactions have slowed down, so I've gone from basically selling properties, days on market from say a week and a half to about also, 3 to 4 weeks. Still getting some properties done also in the first week, but these properties are also coming on the market really priced well, presented exceptionally well, and marketed really well as well. So properties are still moving, but I've definitely noticed a lot less properties coming on the market the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, and what's your pipeline looking like in terms of future listings? Is it people that are saying that, yes, we're going to make a move, but we're going to wait for after the virus? What's happening there?
To be honest, what I'm seeing at the moment is, so last month, for example, we had 12 listings over here, signed up 12 listings. This month, it is a lot slower. On about 3 at the moment. So, and it's looking like it's slowing down a bit more even the next couple of weeks and months actually. But I think once this kind of fizzles out about June, I reckon it will pick up a lot. I'm finding a lot of investors selling at the moment. So a lot of my clients coming on the market, a lot of investors, and also people upsizing. I think this is a great market to upsize.
Yep, love that. All right, man. Well, look, I appreciate you giving us a bit of an overview, and you keep doing what you're doing as well. We're loving seeing all the work.
Thanks, mate.
Last but not least, Mr. Ray Talati, I've left the best for last. How are you, sir?
Mate, I'm well. How are you, Josh? Thanks for having me.
Pleasure. So Taramara is your marketplace, well, that's where the office is. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're seeing out there?
Yeah, so I'm at Chadwick Real Estate in Taramara, servicing Sydney's Upper North Shore. It's been a really interesting couple of weeks, hasn't it? I think that at the moment, day by day, it's changing, and I think the biggest danger is in trying to predict the market. I know that I've definitely been caught out of that. We want to all be optimistic, but at the end of the day, we don't actually know exactly when this is going to be behind us. So we talk about qualifying buyers, but I also think it's just as important to be qualifying vendors at the moment and to be working with highly motivated clients. You're asking some of the other boys about what are your vendors doing? What's your pipeline look like? And at the moment, you know, I've just done 4 deals in the last 3 weeks and they've all been working for very highly motivated clients. Whilst there's also a huge pool of potential sellers there who have decided to hold off. The thing is, you know, we don't know how long it's going to be till open houses return. You know, we don't know if it's going to be a 1-year recovery, a 3-month recovery, or a 5-year recovery. We just don't know. So I think I really like what I think Vince said about creating a sense of urgency. And that's very much what we're doing. I'm saying to my vendors, look, I've got these buyers now. And like Dib's example, you know, it's a bird in the hand, you know, cash in hand, 66Ws, strong unconditional offers are strong and what you want to be working with at the moment.
Yeah, and so you're getting still a lot of the unconditional offers, are you? Or you think that people are calling off?
Out of the last 4 deals I've done, 3 of them were unconditional. I did one yesterday with a cooling off period, a 2-bedroom apartment in Hornsby. We put that on the market. It was on for about 13 days. But again, the only way we could get it done was with a cooling off period.
Yeah.
So I think that we will see more of those as finance starts to tighten up quite a lot.
Yeah, and stock levels moving forward. What's your pipeline looking like?
Healthy, surprisingly, because I mean I was expecting a lot more people to just completely go off the boil. But as I said, working with highly motivated clients, there's still a lot of people out there who, you know, need to sell and people out there who want to buy. And I have started to see some buyers I've spoken to in the last week say that since their pre-approvals lapsed, they're not looking to renew. So I think that we will see more of that. So again, that's where I'm creating urgency with my vendors saying, look, I've got these buyers now. We've got finance, you know, we know that it's starting to tighten up. The banks are tightening up in terms of lending. Let's work with who we've got and let's work quickly.
Yeah, love that, mate. Well, I appreciate you giving us an overview. Thanks for joining us. So look, on our side of things, I think it's pretty much similar right across the board. Cooling off periods are coming in a lot more. One deal that we've got running at the moment, it's been extended twice on the cooling off, but we just don't have anyone else that's interested in the property. So the owner's like, we're just going to take it and see what we can get for it. But pipeline, I think, is also looking positive, but a lot of people just waiting to see what happens. A fair few off-market deals happening at the moment, so just trying to get those actually listed and trying to show people through, obviously following the guidelines and doing all those sorts of things. We've been doing a lot more video, and even it's just handheld video, just on our phones, a literal walkthrough of the property, every single room, and like a proper commentary behind it. And we're sending that off to people before we actually take them through. So we've been finding that's really good. Some people think it's boring and some people actually really like it. So we're just trying to adapt wherever we can. Thank you again, everyone, for joining me. I just wanted to do something different, just to give, whether it be other agents or the audience, buyers, sellers, a bit of an overview of what's happening out there at the moment. We might get out there and do it again, but until then, thank you so much, and I'll catch up with you guys soon.
See you, mate.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Take care.
Thanks.
Mark, everyone. Stay safe.